Everyone, Darren Hunter here with Michael Sanz. This is the Unbusy podcast show. Michael, you are about to board a plane for a leadership meeting with the EAs in Manila. So how long is your flight?
My flight will be about 8 hours. I'm currently at Sydney Airport, and this is a common occurrence now. I fly into Sydney, we do a podcast, and then I fly off to the Philippines. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting trip, this one. Not only is it leadership, but we're also booking in our Christmas party in Boracay. So that means that Dennis and I will have to travel to a tropical island just to try and find accommodation for the team for Christmas party.
Such a serious hardship trip that you've got ahead of you. Now, of course, beautiful Boracay and those coconut ice cream. What was the name of that place?
Coco Mama, and I'm going to get the ube version this time in D Mall, and when you're back at the end of the year, Darren, we'll enjoy many more.
So Boracay, for everyone, is really the place where the Filipinos go to have their holiday and all of that. So it is a great place, great beach. But Michael, so the leadership event that you're doing with your team, with your executive assistants, what's the purpose of that? What are you looking to get out of that?
Yeah, I guess primarily what we wanted to focus on this time was the onboarding of new recruits. So I read a book recently, Joey Coleman, Never Lose an Employee Again. So it focuses on the first 100 days of onboarding recruits. And, Darren, we've looked at different ways on how we should train better and how to get better, understanding from VAs and EAs as we recruit them, because it's always an ongoing process. And there's a lot of companies out there, Darren, that provide outsourcing services. I don't know any that actually go to the depth and level that we do, flying in there ourselves to do one-on-one training. And I guess it rolls on to what we're going to be talking about today, what we're doing. But, it's really interesting, Darren, just as an example of some of the things we're going to cover, when you do the job interview to when you send out a contract of employment to when they start. It's what are all the different unique touch points we can be doing as a business to make that person feel really excited, really involved, and really invested. Because yes, they work for Teams by Design in a company environment from home, but we place all these assistants with clients out there. And so what are we doing uniquely different to make sure that their EA is really, invested in their company also?
Mm-hmm. And we are very invested in these people as well, and we treat them like family, and we're always there to help them out, particularly with difficulties or something like that. And we do.
I've got 40 kilos of chocolate in my luggage that I'm taking over. A mixture of Allen's lollies, Tim Tams, mint slices, burger rings, chicken twisties. I have got absolutely everything in my luggage. In fact, for my luggage, I have this small little carry-on, and everything else is like chocolate. I even made baklava last night to take over there so the team could have some of my baklava.
Well, I hope it survives in your bag okay with the heat that's going on over there at the moment. So let's talk about the point of today's show. And Michael, you've said to me some weeks ago, you said, Darren, to place executive assistants into offices, I need to be training them myself. All right. Now, I thought that was great because so right now your strategy is you're going to be placing one executive assistant. Now you're going to train them up yourself, and you're going to be placing them at a speed of one a month. That is the goal. So right now you've gone and found Ynna. Ynna came into our directors meeting the other day. You're training her up. So let's talk about Ynna. So for everyone, Ynna is available as an executive assistant. Michael is still training her. And if you want to chat to Michael about Ynna, just book in at unbusychat.com. Unbusychat.com puts you straight into Michael's diary. And just so you know, you're able to get an executive assistant who's based remotely and keep you completely organized, bosses. So you're focused on the most productive things, not focused on being busy for busy's sake, but not being productive. Of course, everyone, there's a big difference. So for under $20 Australian, an hour, you can be having your own executive assistant that's keeping you totally organized, so you can just focus on the dollar producing activities and not getting caught up in the weeds. So Michael, with Ynna, let's talk about Ynna. And What was her background? Let's talk about the interview process and what led you to choose Ynna over other applicants. What stood out?
Yeah, so Ynna came to us through like our recruiting process, went through the job interviews, and she stood out because she had previous BPO, so previous professional services experience. She presented really, really well from a human level. So one of the things we look at, Darren, is how relatable, how human are they? We don't want someone to join the team that's very robotic and transactional, like what you see a lot of the virtual assistants that have worked with American companies before. They're very yes, ma'am, yes, sir, transactional. But to be an executive assistant, there's got to be a lot of give and take. There's got to be the ability to smile and have a joke. I'm okay with people making mistakes, Darren, as long as we learn from it. And so she presented really well. We had actually placed Ynna as an executive assistant to a high-flying CEO in Queensland. And his business model went public, I believe. And so there was a few changes that had to occur there. And that was only after 6 weeks. And this is where the concept, Darren, that we're talking about was, well, why don't I bring on an executive assistant under myself that I can train to what I need? Now, Darren, here, I'll preface it. I have a mortgage broking business. We have, property management. We have the outsourcing company, and we have Inspired Growth Training. So who better than to learn a varied set of tasks under 4 different industries that are somewhat relatable that we can then place into another business, right? And one of the things I guess we heard from business owners was, besides being time poor, how can somebody read my email? How are they going to understand what someone is asking me? How are they going to be able to reply to an email? How are they going to know my diary? How are they going to, how are they? Easy. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them how to do it. I'm going to train them. That was the easiest thing for me to do, Darren.
I think everything's cloud-based, everything's on the internet. As long as it's on the internet, cloud-based, it can be accessed by someone else. So what was Ynna doing? What was her background? What was her skill set when you selected her?
So it was all over the phone. She had a mixture of working within an office in a corporate setting. I believe it was insurance she was working on, but it was still customer-based customer service. And then it was over the phone, so BPO, working in an office, having to, transport there and back, still taking phone calls. I guess the lure of what we were able to provide is work from home. But, she was working on a lot of admin skills, customer service, and what she was doing was a bit repetitious. But for me, that experience was only a little bit of what I needed because I was looking for a human. And like we say, Darren, when we're recruiting, I look at the first thing is, are they human? The very first thing is, can I have a conversation? Can they understand my sarcasm? Can they understand, how we joke and everything? And then I look at what are their skills. So are their skills transferable, relatable? And I needed someone who was good on the phone. I needed someone who could show they had proven attention to detail. I needed to make sure that they could change from different tasks, because especially in real estate, Darren, and when you're working for a business owner, you need to be able to prioritize. You need to have that distinctive skill of knowing, okay, this is urgent, this is not urgent, right?
So thinking for yourself is a skill, isn't it? Because I remember the first time that I went to the Philippines myself, I noticed that the country, it just has a culture of checklists and a culture of legislation and following rules without question and without thought and without doing something, without actually understanding it first. And there's people that just do tasks, but have never actually thought, could I do this better? Can I do this more efficiently? All they do is follow orders. And they become, as you said, very, very transactional. I really saw a lot of that, which of course is a good thing, right? Particularly from a business point of view, following instructions and understanding an instruction and following it without question has a degree of this is good, all righty? But when it comes to using your initiative and looking at how can I do this better, more efficiently, more creatively, hang on, there's a mistake in that. If I go and do that next step, it's going to be a problem. So the executive assistant has to be flying above that transactional mentality or mindset. So let's talk about all those little things that you've picked up with Ynna that tells you she's not a transactional mindset worker that's suitable to be a VA. How does you saw that she's executive assistant material? What are some of the things you've seen?
You know, this is just a small thing. I mentioned it another time that I've sent over a task. Now, you know, she's only been working with me for a couple of weeks. I sent over a task to do. And, you know, like these words for a business owner just sound magical. I sent something over, sent a task. I think it was to find some accommodation. And I got the message, leave it with me. Right? And that's like, you know, early on kind of standing off. And I think the task was, here are some places that I need you to do some research on for accommodation-wise. And not only did she got on the phone and rang these places, she then went and found about 10 other places. And then she went onto Canva and made this presentation for me on the other properties with pricing, how many people, you know, it can hold, everything that I would need, so that when we get to this place on the weekend, Darren, the team have got a list, and the company, the accommodations, already know that we're coming. Now, all I asked was just to go on and have a look at these accommodation options and see if it'll fit us.
No, well done.
And the next thing I was going to ask was to do those things, but intuitively, instinctively, she already did it. And bear in mind too, Darren, I get a lot of emails, so that is a daunting phase for anyone coming in. Like, can you imagine if, Darren, you said to me, Michael, I'm going on holiday, can you manage my emails for a month?
It's really hard. It's like a property manager going on holiday, and the boss going to other property managers saying, you've got to manage their portfolio. It's daunting, you know. It's very difficult when you're already smash busy. So everyone, we're going to talk about Michael's adventures with training Ynna around email management, diary management, and then meeting management. So it's a 3-layer process there: step 1, step 2, step 3, which really does cover a bulk of what we need them for. But Michael, just want to make a comment around some of the sweetest words that our EAs can say to us as busy, frantic people is, you know, if I give them an instruction, their response is, got it, you know, got it, on it. You know, I send a message through, Bev, can you please proofread? I get her to do my proofreading on my marketing emails. She's that good with grammar, all righty? That good with reading. All right, please proofread such and such an email before it goes. On it, bang, within 2 minutes, proofreading check, good to go. Just these, you know, peace of mind statements that she's got my chaos in control. It just makes me feel better. It's just those little things where you got on it or got it, or what was the term that you got from Ynna? What did you get?
Leave it with me.
Leave it with me. Leave it with me is just the sweetest words of peace of mind. You go, oh, that feels better. That they are in control. They're in control of those things that are stressing you out. And this is what an executive assistant is to do, is to bring calm to your chaos, to bring order and control to your world where you feel like you're losing control, getting caught up in the weeds. And those weeds and those things are going to keep you unbusy or busy and unproductive and not doing the things that you know you should be. You need to be spending all your time in these. This is what the EA sets you free to do, is to be who you're meant to be and look after all those weeds work for you. So yeah, Ynna's looking very, very promising. So look, if you feel that Ynna could be a fit for you, then reach out to Michael, unbusychat.com. Again, costings, you know, you're looking under $20 Australian an hour for a full-time worker. And you just got to remember, everyone, there's no desk costs here, because if you went and got yourself an executive assistant, you'd be looking at 3 times more than that per hour minimum, and then desk cost as well. All righty. So you got to stack it all up. And when you got someone who's an executive assistant based remotely, doesn't matter where they are in the world, location is irrelevant. Someone that can competently do the job, you need to seriously look into it. So just book into Michael's diary, unbusychat.com. and have a chat about Ynna. And again, Michael's just training up Ynna just for the month, and then she will be placed before Michael then next month brings on a new executive assistant. So they are very limited as well. So reach out to Michael, unbusychat.com. So Michael, I think we're done. The next podcast episode, everybody, we're going to be looking at email management, base one for Ynna, diary management, of course, and then meeting management as well, and how we can do that.
Perfect. I'm excited.
All right. See you there.